Another cold morning. If you're on YouTube and you can see me in my car window, you know that I am not AI. Let's get started. Welcome to Speaking Smashinese. For those of you who may not know, I am recording what you are listening to while I am walking outside in the streets with cars, airplanes, and other ambient noises. Think of this as a walking club, kind of, sort of. And I am your free walking buddy who just happens to be obsessed with the science of human behavior. In today's episode, we will attempt to answer what in the world is a love language. Because we've all heard these phrases, right? Things like, that's just not my love language. Or you'll hear people say, or maybe you said, my love language is this or that. Or you'll hear them refer to another person as to what their love language is or how they express themselves. Now, people say it like it's a shield, right? Like it explains everything. Like it ends the conversation. Now you guys can hear the geese. They either agree or disagree with me, right? But here's the problem. Most people using those phrases don't actually understand what a love language actually is. But don't worry, chat. Don't worry. I am going to define it today, and we'll do this too. If I'm not clear enough, find your way to my YouTube channel, hop in the comment section, and just call me out. Let me know. Ask me if I can dig deeper. And I think it's best to start with what a love language is not. Because I hear so many people get it wrong. So let's get into it, right? A love language is not your personality. A love language is not your preference. A love language is not your excuse. I'm sorry if you've been getting it wrong all this time, but a love language is not your personal comfort zone. A love language, instead, is the primary way your brain recognizes, interprets, emotionally registers care, attention, feelings, love from another person. That's it. Not how you like to love someone else, but how you feel loved. But hold on. Let me take baby steps so that we're all on the same page. I want to make sure that everyone understands that there are two systems running at the same doggone time in every single relationship. One system answers the question, how do I feel loved? The other system answers, how do I love others in a way that feels natural to me? Try to get a thumbnail, guys. I'm walking in a different area today, an industrial area. I didn't even know this was here. Okay. This is the beauty of walking every day. Now, where was I? Okay. Most people assume that those two systems, right? How do I feel loved? And how do I love others in a way that feels natural to me? I think that's what I said. Most people assume those are the same system. So the term love language gets used improperly. They are not the same system. From this day forward, from here on out, I want you to understand the two systems as such. Ladies and gentlemen, chat, my walking friends, we have receptive love language. This is what matters to you, or what you need to receive to feel loved. And then we have expressive love style. You see that? One is language, one is style. And this is what you do for your partner that makes you feel good about yourself. Please tell me. You see the difference? Now, we've gotten this far. Do you know what your love language, excuse me, guys, what your love language is. Do you know your love language? When do you actually feel cared for by someone? This is exactly where you start. Okay? When do you feel cared for by someone, not just impressed by them, not just enamored with them, not just infatuated by them? Your brain, I picked a lot of little hills this morning. Jeez. Your brain is constantly asking one quiet question in relationships. It's saying, am I safe here? And do I matter? A love language is the signal your brain trusts to answer that particular question. For some people, that signal is words or time. It could also be touch. It could be help, right? Which is you responding to someone being there for you. And for some of us, thoughtful gestures do the trick. They're everything. It's those tiny little things that a person does that they don't have to do, but they thought to do, right? That you thought to do, okay? If you're this type of person, okay? But here's the key. If the signal doesn't match what your brain recognizes, it doesn't register. Say what? Okay, come on, coach. You're going to have to explain that one. That's okay. That's what we're here for. What I'm trying to say is, if your love language is someone spending quality time with you, no amount of stuffed animals, flowers, vacations, walks in the park, candy delivered by FedEx. No amount of these things is going to make you feel like you are safe in that relationship and that you really, really matter to your partner. Let's look at it this way. Let's say someone tells you, hey, babe, you mean a lot to me. But they constantly cancel plans, right? They set things up and then they bail on you. What happens? your brain goes, I heard the words, but I don't believe them. Why? Because your system doesn't trust words alone. You need not only, I was about to say you need more than that, but it's not only more than that. Okay, let's not quantify these needs. Okay, you need something different. Let's make all languages equal right now. You need something different. Okay, because what matters to me may not matter at all to you. It doesn't mean it isn't important, but all of you guys walking with me right now, and myself, and everyone else we know, we're all different people. Now, let's say someone shows up, okay? Someone shows up every time you need them. They show up every single time. Excuse me. Or most of the time. Okay? That you need help. They fix things. They solve problems. They handle responsibilities. But they never say how they feel. So, even though you are likely dealing with a winner, you start thinking to yourself, do they even care about me like that? Do they even care about me like that? Meanwhile, because it's going to sound off to them, they're thinking, I do everything for you. How can you not see it? And there's the biggest misunderstanding. People think love languages are about giving, right? Your partner just said, I do everything for you. How can you not understand? I don't get it. This is insane. What do I have to do? Because they think love languages are about giving. They are not. They are about translation. And to make things worse, here's a huge mistake people make, which is loving people the way you want to be loved. Is anyone who can hear my voice guilty of that? Let's say you give advice. You give solutions. Great problem solver. Great strategist. Right? Because that's what you value. But the other person, that other person, you know, the person you're in a relationship with, they needed presence. Okay, not Presents, people, but Presence. They needed you to be there. They needed you to listen. They needed reassurance. So now both people feel like, well, I'm giving so much and I'm getting nothing back. This isn't working. This isn't working. Here's another mistake. Using love language as an excuse. Okay? Have you ever heard someone say, that's just not my love language? What they really mean is, that's not how I naturally operate. But relationships are not about staying natural. They're about becoming intentional. What's another thing that we do, that people do? Okay. Thinking single-mindedly, right? Thinking that one love language is enough. Now, what in the world do you mean by that, Coach Sumo? I think y'all gonna stop walking with me after I tell you this one. Most people don't have just one love language. I bet you didn't know that, did you? Most people have a primary love language, a secondary love language, and we all have what are called situational needs, right? Sometimes you need to hear words during conflict or an argument that you need to hear, or it doesn't have to be about all that, right? It doesn't have to be a conflict or an argument. Maybe it's just a little disagreement, but it's how you need the resolution to go, okay? Sometimes during stressful times, you just need to be touched, or you need to be held, right? Sometimes you need time to yourself, okay? But you still do not want to be left alone in the house. You just need space, okay? What I'm trying to say here is that maybe the reason why relationships are considered to be difficult, or certain individuals are considered to be difficult, or impossible to please or impossible to be with is because love itself is dynamic. And that's not a bad word. We just have to figure it out, guys. But now, I know what many of you might be thinking. This love language thing, yeah, it sounds kind of important. How in the world am I supposed to know someone's love language, coach? And how is someone supposed to know my love language if I really have even figured out what my love language is? And do I have a secondary and primary? You have to help us out. You have to help us out, coach. You have to help us out, okay? These are beautiful, beautiful questions. Great questions. What is the best way to start? I want each of you to ask yourself, do I expect people to understand me without ever clearly showing them how I feel loved? I'm just saying, ask yourself what your expectations are, okay? Because this is the reason some people are difficult. They refuse to open up and tell people. People feel like if somebody is meant for them, that person will somehow know or eventually figure it out. And this does happen sometimes. I have talked to couples where one person in the relationship says, I just want to spend more time together. But when they get their together time, and let me change my voice up here, the other person, their insensitive partner is on their phone. The other person is distracted. The other person is mentally somewhere else entirely. And then they part their foul lips to you and say something like, we spend time together all the time. What's the issue? Oh, what's the issue? There's an issue, all right, because what you meant was, I need present time, not just shared space, right? I can reach over or I can walk over and I can physically touch you. Let's define shared space as that. And present time is shared time in which both partners are mentally, emotionally, and attentively engaged with each other in the current moment without distraction, without mobile phones, without TikTok, without Instagram, without YouTube, without texting other people, without talking on the phone to mom or buddies or girlfriends or homeboys or dads or co-workers or employees. What else? Without divided focus. And without psychological absence. Ladies and gentlemen, present time requires 3 things happening at once. Attention. Take a mental note. Awareness. Take a mental note. And responsiveness. Take a mental note. How do we define attention? Attention means your focus is on your partner, not split between them and something else, or them and someone else. Now, you get a pass if there's a baby in your lives that requires your attention. But then, in another episode, we will talk about the importance of making this time, artificially making this time when someone else is caring for the child. And I think next we had awareness, okay? Awareness means you are registering what your partner is saying. Now, I'm saying registering, but y'all know that means listening, ingesting, digesting, internalizing, okay? You're registering what your partner is saying, what they're feeling, and what they're expressing in real time, in the present time. And lastly, we have responsiveness. Excuse me. If you're truly being responsive, you are reacting in a way that shows that you are actually with, emphasis on the word with your partner. Not just near them. There's a distinction, and it's important. But you know, just so that we can get more steps, we don't just talk about what something is. Sometimes we also talk about what something is not, and what present time is not. Present time is not sitting in the same room while scrolling on your phone, right? That's not present time. It's not listening while mentally rehearsing your response. Do you see the error in that? Because just a few minutes ago, I talked about listening. So you feel like, oh, wow, he said, listen, right? I'm listening. But are you listening if you're waiting to see what comes out of your partner's mouth so that you can prepare your response? And for a lot of us, it's simply to win, to dictate, to control. Okay? Present time is not being physically present, but emotionally preoccupied. You're either with me or you're not. And everybody, all of my walkers and listeners and viewers, please, present time or quality time, if you understand it better that way, is not spending time that is passive or distracted. So, if you can't remember everything I said, think of it like that. And in addition to all of this, there's a deeper layer that most people miss before I forget. Love languages are not just about preference. They are often shaped by what you lacked in previous relationships, right? Or for some of us, what hurt you in previous relationships. And this is a big one. What made you feel unseen, unnoticed in previous relationships? Now, keep in mind, I'm just saying relationships in general right now, because all of these things didn't have to happen, or not happen, I guess I should say, necessarily in an intimate relationship. It just means baggage, right? It just means you have unresolved issues. So, your language is sometimes, if not most of the time, a response to your past. This is why I always say to people, don't hate your exes unless they were cruel to you, they put their hands on you, they stole from you, or something unforgivable like that. Now, you don't have to like them or speak to them or even care about them, but they were an experience for you, and hopefully you learned some things from that experience. With that said, do you know if your own love language is based on what you enjoy or what you once needed and didn't receive from someone else in the past? I want you guys to think about that. Figure this one out. Find an answer to this question, because love languages do one thing really really, really well. They reduce emotional guesswork. So instead of asking, does my partner really care about me? You start to recognize, oh, I get it. This is how they show it. Now, let me be totally straight with all of you. Understanding love languages doesn't guarantee success. I have to get that out of the way. But not understanding love languages almost definitely guarantees either failure or at the very least, miscommunication, which can lead to or be perceived as a failing relationship. So remember, love is not just about what you feel. It's about what the other person can actually receive and recognize. Both of these things have to happen simultaneously. Okay? Because if I say receive, that means you gave something. But it has to be recognized. It has to be internalized. It has to be understood as something that's valuable to them. And when I say valuable, I'm not talking about Chanel bags and Air Jordans, guys, okay? Because you can give someone everything. And if it's not in a form that they understand, it feels like nothing. And this, this is painful as crap. And because it can be so painful, let's get into some love language hacks, okay? We should all be warmed up right now. First, how to identify your own love language. So I know I jump back and forth sometimes, but this means you, the person listening to me right now. If your name is Kim, that's you, Kim. If your name is David, that's you, David, okay? You have to notice when you feel most appreciated. All right? What does your partner do for you or to you or with you, right? That makes you feel like you might explode with happiness, or you might explode with joy, or you might just burst out in happy tears. You also need to pay attention to what hurts you when it's missing in your relationship, right? You have to know what it is that you're missing. And pay attention to yourself. Pay attention to yourself, which just means observe what you naturally ask for. That could be verbally, or you feel like you're projecting your needs. Now, here's the biggie right here. How do you identify your partner's love language? Somebody else's love language. So if you're still with me, Kim, I think that's the fictitious name I came up with. We talked about how to identify your needs. And David, how to identify your needs. But now we're talking about how to identify your partner's love language, the other person. More important than anything, listen to your partner's complaints, okay? When people complain about things, they tend to reveal their own needs. All you have to do is listen and pay attention. You can also tell what someone's love language is by watching what they consistently do for you. Does your man wash dishes, cook for you, wash the clothes on his own? It could be anything, right? What does your girl do? That person's love language may be reducing your stress and responsibilities. Is this important to you? Is this what's needed? And look, if you can't tell what somebody's love language is, or you're just unsure, now we've gone through a whole episode, but I'm going to make it really really simple for everybody. You could ask them directly, hey, bruh. Don't say, hey, bruh. Okay. What makes you feel most cared for? Bam. It's that simple. Just make sure that once you find out, you stay consistent. Love languages are not occasional things. Do I need to say that? One more time. One more again. Okay? To hack up and destroy the English language, grammar, chat, walkers, friends, viewers, listeners, people, ladies, gentlemen. At the end of the day, love languages are not about changing who you are. They're about learning how to reach someone where they actually are. Because love isn't just something you feel inside. It's something that has to land correctly. So the next time you think to yourself, I'm doing everything right. And you're so confident, you're almost arrogant with it. Ask yourself, am I speaking clearly? Am I speaking clearly? Or am I just speaking comfortably? Am I speaking clearly? Or am I just speaking comfortably? by now, you should understand why I said it like that. I hope this episode helps someone, is beneficial to someone. Okay? Again, in closing, you're listening to Speaking Smashinese, and this is what we do, guys. I'd appreciate if you're on YouTube, if you like, if you share the content. It is different. The audio is imperfect, I know. I'm out here walking on most days with a 30-pound vest in the streets. But this is something that helps me as well. Don't think I am Mr. Trainer Man with the six-pack walking with you for your benefit only. This keeps me accountable. And while I'm saying that, if you are walking with me or exercising with me, first of all, excellent. That's great. I'm proud of you. Find a way to let me know. Let me know where you're from. Okay? No addresses, please. That just isn't safe. Your city, your state. What country are you in? And consider telling other people about the Speaking Smashinese podcast, because you may not need anything that I'm talking about. Your life and relationship could be perfect, but we all can benefit from hearing different perspectives, and especially while we're walking, especially while we're exercising. Okay? So like, share, subscribe, and for those of you on audio platforms only, you're not missing much visually. I do record everything that I see while I'm walking, because if I don't, someone inevitably is going to say that this is AI, or somehow I just am pretending that I'm exercising as well. I appreciate you guys, and I hope to walk with you in the next episode. Ciao.